Shalom, welcome to Kabbalah Academy. Today we have a topic, namely death. Okay, to die, grave, to be buried, dust. Okay, from dust you came, until dust you shall go. Let us start with the grave. Okay, so grave would then be a gimel for the G, R, resh, aleph for the A vav for the V, and a vav can be O, U, V, W. And the V is the tip of the nail. And this makes an arrow pointing down, grave. Okay? And the last letter would be an E, which is the iron. So, the total here of is 3, 200, 1, 6, and 70 makes a total of 70 plus 7, 77 plus 3 is 80, 280. And 280 is an interesting number. It is namely the value of the 5 Safit letters to start with. There will be a Kaf, Mem Safit, Nun Safit, Fe Safit, and a Tzadi Safit. All hinting at the descent, physicality, that came about by the Chet, right? The Toiv Ra, eaten from the tree of good and bad. So this values 280. What else values 280 is Sandalphon. And Sandalphon is ministering angel over Asiya. Let's make a tree here. Keter, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, Yesod, and Malchut. Let us put Das in there also. Today we'll need that. So, Malchut in Asiya is what we're speaking about today. Okay, there's various Malchuts, of course, various Olamot. We're treating the Malchut in Asiya as we will look into physical death of the Gufa, of the body. Okay, so Sandalphon, and it also says take your sandals off, take your shoes off, stands for the physicality, right? The Gufa, the 5 senses, and therefore these 5 Safit letters, and the physical perception, right? So seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, right? The senses and the physicality, which is actually the world of Sheker, is built upon this because it's not real, right? That's not reality. So take your shoes off means to do away with the physical Gufa. So it's not per definition a negative thing. We will all die. The question is, how are you going to die? What will you take with you? Because death is nothing but an other state of awareness. Okay, if you think that death is the end, that's just unlearned. Then you don't have the proper knowledge to know what it is. Okay, and that's okay. But we are here to speak about knowledge, about Das, that gives us insight thereon. Okay, through the Gematria, through the crown jewel, and through the prerequisites which we learn from Yirah H'ari. This is magnum opus for the Western world, teaches Lashon, teaches all the prerequisites that you truly need for a proper understanding of the Kabbalah. You cannot read Zohar and things by yourself and think you understand. It doesn't work that way. So let us proceed. So take off your shoes, right? Take off your form of physicality. There's also the the ordinal, just to keep some space here, we'll do the ordinal underneath. Then again, it's a 3. That's a 20, that's a 1, that's a 6, and that's a 16. 16 and 6, 22, 23 plus 20, 43 plus 3, 46. And 46 is the ordinal value of 5, 15, 13, 1, and 12. 12, 13, 26, 30, 41, 46. Ha Samael. Okay, Ha Samael. So in the grave, right? The 7th. The 6, I hate. The 7 are an abomination. So this the 7-headed serpent, Ha Samael. Okay, so that's clear. That should be clear. We'll proceed to the next word, which is buried. Okay. Buried. Beit for the B, Vav for the U, but now it's bindings. Resh for the R, forms. Yud for the I, Ayin for the E, and Dalet for the D. Buried. Yes. Now, this is a 2, that's 6, 200, 10, 70, and 4. Yes. I forgot to mention this has a Resh Ayin, which is Ra, evil, progress of evil, nailed down into the grave, right? Because these 6, I hate, these 7 are an abomination. Here is your evil. Put in the ground, nail pointing down. Okay, so buried. 4 plus 70 plus 10 is 84, plus 6 is 90, plus 2, 92, plus 200, 292. And that in Kollel is Toiv and Ra. Toiv and Ra. Okay? So Toiv and Ra is precise because right and left, good and bad, right? Yetzer HaToiv, Yetzer HaRa, that goes in the grave. Okay? When you're buried. Interesting words. Bor. Beit Vav Resh is also Hebrew for the pit, right? And grave. Ein Dalet. Ein Dalet is 8, which is the witness. Here's your witness. Malchus is the witness. Shechina is the witness. So that's also precise. That's where you are buried. Now, pit, usually we say it's Yisod, and that's also precise because Yisod is that bridge downwards, and Yisod is black. It's the mental form. When you close your eyes, you see black first. It's because you're now beholding the mental form, okay? And things that die turn black first also. So that's greatly connected. That's precise. So the pit, from the pit to the witness, right? Yes, that's a burial. Let us look at what is interesting, is namely the Hebrew word for buried is likvor. Likvor, lamet, kuf, beit, vav, resh. Here you have it again. The pit, burial. Lik is cherufable. That's why we rearrange the letters, take exactly the same letters, and we cheruf it. Very important in Kabbalah. Is kol, and kol is the voice, is 130. Again, Samael without the hay. So, kol and Samael is known in Kabbalah to hint at Samael in the pit, in the grave. Okay. So, what else did we have there? The value of the Hebrew variant is then 30, 100, 2, 6, and 200. 206, 208, 308, 338. And 338 is the value of levush. Levush. Why? Because take your sandals off. Your physicality, right? Your forms. Levush, it is a garment. You can take that garment off in the grave, okay? And interesting thing, when we go to the next word, we'll start to see what remains there then. Because you are a spark of the endless, right? That is what you are. Your choice acting upon these forms, okay? So once these physical forms disappear, it doesn't mean that you are, that you disappear, right? But you have to construct something. That's what we work with the letters for. You have to build yourself an arc, right? And that goes through the Aleph Tav. Now, the next word is death itself. So that would be a Dalet for the D, an Ayin for the E, Aleph for the A, Taf for the T, and an H for the Hey. And then you see immediately that even though we're speaking about death, it has Aleph Taf in it. It has, again, this witness, but rearrange the letters. Dalet Ayin. Dalet Ayin is Ayin Dalet, is the witness. The witness, letters, and the Hey is here in Malchut, Nukva. Yud, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Tip of the Yud, base of the Yud, Vav, Zerampin, and the Hey. So, the witness being the Hey with the letters, okay? Yes, now, an interesting permutation here would be Dalet Ayin Taf, which is knowledge, Da'as. And what kind of knowledge? Because the physical, the gufa, the body and the five senses, it came about through the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? The hate, the sin, has created the fallen state in which we have physicality and we have these forms and we have these forms through which we filter things and through which we create a false reality. It is not reality. What you see with your eyes, what you hear with your ears, that is just your perception, and you intermingle that, you mix that with your forms, with your emotions, okay? So with your desires and all these things and more. So holding on to that or yashar, that is what you want to be aiming for. Ma, reality. So there is true das, knowledge, of course, but the death comes about through what has happened from the das of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, Toiv and Ra. Okay? So let us proceed here, because interesting is namely that the value for 71, 405, 405, 406, 476, 480, and 480 is many things. It is, to begin with, Edut, which again is witness, but we already had that. It is also Lilith. And Lilith stands for darkness, Laila also. And that's also precise. We had, remember? The blackness of the mental form When one closes the eyes, or when something starts to decay or rot or come out the backside, which is also death, right? Everything you eat dies, and it comes out the backside dark of color. It's the backside of the Yisod. So Lilith, Lila, darkness, okay, descent. So 480 has that value, but it's also the value of what one of the things that does remain. Yes, let me put it here. Ha'adam nefesh, man's soul, right? Reincarnation. Ha'adam nefesh, 380, 30, makes 430, and 50. 40, 4, 1, and 5. Yes? So this is 480. 480. So, Ha'adam Nefesh. So the man's soul, the soul of a man. Now, if you take the word dead in Hebrew, you have mot, right? Mavet. Mavet. But if you take the word truth, it includes the word mot, deficient, no vav. You can write it like that. But now you're taking the aleph to the grave. And what happens is the grave is not a grave anymore. The grave becomes a womb to the next life with waters of Torah. You have an aleph and you have a tav. And you take it to the womb. The grave devours the gufa, but the womb is there, right? You take letters into the womb, and the ground becomes a womb for your progression into the next. But it doesn't work without the letters, okay? So that is very important. So now we have the word emet, truth. So emet, truth, take the aleph to the grave, because we will all die. That is a simple fact. We have to take our shoes off. The question is, what do you bring with you? Okay? Are you going there empty-handed with your sins? Oh, I had a difficult life. We all have thorns and thistles. This is the way here. The ground was cursed for our sake. Get over it. Okay? So, study letters. Study Crown Jewel. Right? We offer this safer. It's available on Amazon.com, bookbaby.com. If you cannot afford a copy, then we have a free PDF for you. It's available for everyone in various languages also. So last thing then, because dust, we will be dust, right? Dalet for the D, Vav for the U, binding, Samech for the S, and a T, Taf for the T. So, and dust values 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 60 is 70, is 470, and 470 is always Ein Taf, and hence it Das, right? It's the Ein Taf. This is Das. So the knowledge, and we know that the dust is also to do with the Das that was destroyed, okay? So the serpent eats the dust, crawls on his belly. You will go into the grave, but take MS, right? Objective reality. There is no right, there is no left, there only is. What you find of something, what you feel about something, it's insignificant. Of course, you have these feelings, but if you let it stand in the way of what is objectively true, then you are part of the problem. So you see things happening around you. Try to make yourself a better particle of the whole. This is the best thing you can do, and feed yourself with letters. And when you have a basic understanding, one who knows Aleph can teach Aleph, right? They say. Then you pass it on. So that's what we do. We work with letters until the grave undoes us from our sandals, our physicality, and then, God willing, you may have created an ark for the hereafter. So I hope this was helpful. Many blessings until the next video. Shalom.